It's been a rough 6 months for the Jeep and Ram brands in 2023. Over 81,000 Jeep Grand Cherokees and Ram trucks were recalled due to engine failure. Dealer lots are stacked with Gladiators, Wranglers, and Ram trucks that are just not selling. And the Jeep Renegade has one of the longest day supply of inventory in the entire country. I'm a huge fan of the Jeep brand, and over the past few years, I've owned a ton of JK Wranglers. While I'm excited to see what the future holds for Stellantis, the direction I see the Jeep brand being taken has me just a little bit concerned. When the civilian version of the military Jeep was first released in 1945, it was a simple and purpose-built machine. The CJ was a work vehicle for farmers and construction workers. It came with a tailgate, side-mounted spare tire, larger headlights, external fuel cap, and many more items that its military predecessors just didn't include. Then the YJ came out in 1983 with a few more creature comforts, followed by the TJ in 97, JK in 2007, and the current most feature-packed version, the JL, in 2018. With each update, the Jeep got more fancy, and now in 2024 with the newest refresh, the Jeep is more expensive than ever. And I feel like the prices have actually started to outpace what most people can actually afford. The same goes for Ram trucks that are also so overpriced they're just sitting on dealer lots not selling. These prices are out of control, and it seems like Stellantis leadership is completely out of touch with the people who buy their vehicles. In a recent interview, Stellantis COO Mark Stewart was asked about their pricing, and his response totally blew my mind.
Speaking of Jeep, are you worried at all about the Wagoneer and its reception in the marketplace? Yesterday, JD Power was talking about vehicles that have finally kind of outpriced consumer demand for luxury. Vehicles on lots are, on average, this MSRP is $5,000 higher than what's selling right now, which is kind of unusually high gap. Has the market finally kind of overshot that, and is the Wagoneer maybe the poster child for that?
No, absolutely, I don't think so. Butts in seats sell vehicles, and in particular, it sells a Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer, and once people sit, they buy.
If they can afford it.
The prices on Jeep, Ram, and Dodge vehicles are spiraling out of control. Vehicles are sitting on lots for over 300 days, and as you saw in that last clip, the C-level leadership are totally blind to the fact that they are pricing their most loyal customers out of the market. The Stellantis CEO is trying to fight new competition from the Ford Bronco by making the Jeep more like a fully optioned Range Rover, and while trying to compete with other brands have led to vehicles like the 392 Wrangler and the Ram TRX. While those vehicles are really awesome, and I'm glad Stellantis put them out in the market, most people just can't afford those in today's economy. And to top that off, Jeep even released a Grand Wagoneer that can go well over $100,000. For a Jeep, that's pure insanity. Over the past few months, I've been on the hunt for a newer JL Wrangler to replace my aging 2015 Rubicon. But every time I saw a new Rubicon on dealer lots, I was hit in the face with extreme sticker shock. In 2015, my JK Wrangler Rubicon with a very basic trim and a manual transmission had an MSRP of only $37,485. But now for the newest 2024 models, that same trim level with cloth seats and a manual transmission will set you back a whopping $53,280. I wanted to see for myself how these high prices are affecting sales and inventory of Jeep and Ram vehicles, so I went down to some of my local CDJR dealers to get a better understanding of what's going on. And what I saw totally blew my mind. Alright, I am here at the Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler dealership, and as you can see, there are a few Jeep Wranglers right here. And then you have the Grand Cherokees going all the way back, just as far as the eye can see on this left row. And on this row of Wranglers, you can actually see that they've been here so long that they have a nice layer of dust just accumulating on them. And I'm just kidding, we had a little rainstorm the other day. They haven't been here that long. But as you notice as we walk around here, there's only like 6-7 Wranglers sitting here at this dealership, which is pretty much kind of the average that they have here every time that I come. They usually, it looks like they keep about 10 in stock. But on the other side of this row, this is where all of the Gladiators are parked. And you have Gladiators all the way down this row, literally as far as you can see to the end there. And most of these have been here for a very, very long time, because I've seen some of these like 3-4 months ago that have been here and then are still here. And the crazy thing is they're actually getting even more Gladiators. Let me show you. They are starting another row of Jeep Gladiators. Now, just a couple years ago, the Jeep Wrangler and especially the Jeep Gladiator, when they first came out, sold really, really fast. They didn't sit on lots very long. They were selling like hotcakes. And then all of a sudden this past year, it just literally died. Now, there's a couple reasons I think for this. One, interest rates are pretty high, so people are kind of thinking twice before buying or they're shopping around a little bit more and taking their time before making a buying decision. But two is what I think the biggest issue is: the prices of the Gladiators, the Wranglers, and every other Jeep that you can buy has just gone up astronomically. Let me show you. We've got this Sarge Green Rubicon right here, steel bumper, good Falcon Wild Peaks. You can't really see the sticker here. It is a 2023 model year, but if you walk around here, this fully loaded four-door Rubicon is $66,270. $66,000 for a fully loaded Jeep Wrangler. And honestly, it could get more expensive because it has the black fenders and the black top, which means you could probably add another $2,000 to the price tag of this Jeep if you added the body colored roof and fenders. And it's just as crazy when you look at the prices of the Gladiators, specifically the Mojaves and the Rubicons. We've got two kind of identical looking ones here. This one's a Mojave, this one's a Rubicon. They're the same yellow color. Let's see how much they're asking for this. Total MSRP of $63,520. And let's go check out the price of this Rubicon right here. All right, this one actually gets a little bit cheaper, surprisingly. It's still crazy expensive. But we got a 2023 Rubicon 4x4, base price of $51,245. Total MSRP of $60,515. And I heard Jeep was giving a lot of incentives and stuff on some of these. Have been sitting around for a while. I don't see any stickers in the window for that though. So I don't know. They're probably going to talk to you about it when you get inside. That's my guess, but I don't feel like going inside today. So here's the issue I have with the 2024 Wrangler. You've got these 2023 at these astronomical prices of like over $60,000, close to $70,000 for these Rubicon Wranglers. And they're just kind of sitting here. Summer's a little bit busier, so some of these have been selling, but not as fast as they used to a couple years ago. They're still selling really, really slow. But the problem is the 2024 Wrangler is going to be even more expensive than the current outgoing 2023 model. And these are already having a hard time selling. The same thing goes with the Gladiator over here. They're having a hard time selling. They're sitting on dealer lots. The prices are astronomical and they're going even higher. So the future of the Wrangler looks pretty bleak, and I don't know how sales are going to increase, to be honest. Now, of course, the Wrangler isn't the only Stellantis product that's having a lot of trouble selling. Let me show you what's going on with RAM while we're here. I have this entire row of heavy duty trucks, 2500s and 3500s here, going all the way that way. And then there is another entire row as you walk over here of Rams all the way down as far as you can see. Then we have minivans lined all along here and more Jeep Cherokees and more Rams in the back. But then behind me, there is a whole other row of Ram trucks. And on the Chrysler side, say you want to take your family on a nice road trip, you want to get a vehicle that has lots of room like this minivan here, you're also going to have to pay up. Got this nice Chrysler Pacifica, beautiful black color, 2023, limited S appearance, a little bit of fancy trim on there. That's probably the black wheels and everything like that. Black trim, no chrome. Base price of $48,205. And are you ready for the price of this minivan? Here we go. $57,070 for a minivan that's meant to just kind of get your family around. Honestly, that's the first time I've looked at the minivan prices, and that is a little bit shocking to me. I thought they would be like 40. Now, this dealership here in Boise is a little bit short supply on Wranglers. So what I want to do is go to another Jeep dealership that's about like 15-20 minutes away. And I know for a fact that they have a ton more Jeep Wranglers, and some of them are priced even higher than these. Well, I'm here at the other Jeep dealership, and this one has a lot more inventory as far as Wranglers go compared to the other one we were just at. Let me show you something pretty crazy and honestly really interesting. You have an entire row of Wranglers, basically about halfway down to where those salesmen are standing. They're looking at some of the new ones that just came in. And then on this side, you have an entire row of Gladiators, and they also have another row of Gladiators. Let me show you here. So their situation is even worse at this dealer. This is also an entire row of mostly Rubicon and Mojave Gladiators, which is kind of crazy. But it makes sense because these are the higher trim level, the more expensive ones, and of course, it's going to sell a little bit less when they're more expensive in this market. So let's just see how much this green Mojave is right here. Got the beautiful Sarge green color, which I got to say is one of my favorite colors. I highly recommend it. Look at what it looks like in the sun. I mean, just a beautiful green color. This is a 2023 Jeep Gladiator Mojave 4x4, base price of $50,995. All of the options here make it $66,325, which is pretty expensive. You're getting close to like really super nice truck territory. But the funny thing is, that's now that I think about it, that is a low trim level F-150 price, but a high trim level Gladiator price. So if you compare that, it's actually not that bad, and that's going to be way more fun. But going on to this row of Jeep Wranglers, and a lot of these are Rubicons. Here's the funny thing that most people don't realize. Jeep is really pushing the new 4xe platform. That's the mild hybrid version of the Jeep Wrangler, and they're pushing it so hard, but it's so much more expensive. And if you look closely, blue tow hooks, blue tow hook, blue tow hook, another blue tow hook, another blue tow hook, blue tow hooks, blue, red, blue, black, blue, 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 red, blue. Most of these are the 4xe, and they have a ton of them. And the reason why is a lot of people don't really like them off-road. Once the battery dies, you're relying on the 2-liter turbo engine, and it's pushing an extra 400 pounds of batteries. Let's see how much it is. Got a 2023 Rubicon 4xe, base price of $59,495. Total price of $64,030. And that's really high priced, especially when you're shoving those electric batteries and that complicated system in these. But that's not even the most expensive Jeep that you're gonna find. Let me show you something cool. All right, so here's the most expensive Jeep Wrangler that you will find. And I'm gonna be a little bit biased because like I said in past videos, I love Jeep. And this dealership actually, Peterson Ram Dodge, I just talked to one of the guys here, and they don't do markup. We've got a Rubicon 392 in black, and it's a little bit dirty because we had some rain here, but this is not the Extreme Recon. That's a little bit more expensive, probably like $4 or $5 grand. But here we go. We got a 2023 four-door Rubicon 392. Base price of $82,495, and because it's already pretty much loaded up, there's not that many options that you can put on it. So there's just $495 for clear coat. You've got some trailer tow package for $350, off-road camera for $785. That brings it to $86,295. You add another $4 or $5 grand for the Extreme Recon package. That pushes it into the low 90s, mid 90s, if you add a couple of other things. And I'm going to be honest, I mean, $86,000 is still a lot of money for a Jeep Wrangler, and I wish it would be better priced, but you're going to have one of the greatest Wranglers you could ever buy. And at the same time, it's something that you could just keep forever, because we all know the V8 engine is dying, and who knows if everything's going to be electric like these silly 4xEs that we have that clearly are not selling and just sitting on the lot. And that's just not what the Jeep buyers want. We don't want electrification. We need something tough, rugged, and dependable when we're on the trail. But that basically raises the question, if the 2023s are so expensive already and they're really sitting on the lots, not selling very much, except to the people that have, you know, quite a bit of money, what does that look like for the 2024? We all know like first adopters are going to have some money and stuff like that. So maybe your best bet is to wait a couple years for the 2023s and 2024s to become used. And then at that point, you'll probably get a really good deal. You just have to be able to wait out the market and be a little bit patient, and that price will reward you for that.